bit of a, what are we going to put? How about a little ambient music? Yeah, just a little ambient music.
Okay.
All right. And there goes one. I can hear it.
So I just got the notification come through on my phone there.
Yeah, it's gonna.
That's
Oh,
fine.
you get. Are you getting them on YouTube or Facebook?
YouTube.
I'm just curious. Yeah,
Yeah, now it comes through.
we get a lot of complaints that
Mm-hmm.
people don't get the. Let me turn my volume down on my phone. All right, we are at a 45-second mark. We need about another minute and a half. Let's see. Okay. Oh, my brain's working slow today. Oh, I thought that was. I thought you were doing some drumming. Somebody's
Nah.
hammering over here.
Can you hear this though?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we should be. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let me check the. Make sure they're all on. Looks like they're all on. Let's see. All right, we're at the 1 minute 23-second mark. Hey, Monique, what's happening, Monique?
Hey, my Mavona just jumped in.
She did. What's
Yeah,
she?
she's there as Ann Kirkham.
Yeah. These people that have the multiple names, I have a hard time keeping up with.
Yeah.
All right, let me see here. Okay, looks like we're all right. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, welcome everybody. Here, let me kill the music. Got 32 people in the house. Boom. Okay, so this is Thom Gilligan, my brother, fellow Texan. Man, I miss Texas.
Actually, you're a native. I'm a replant.
I knew you were. Where are you from?
I was a Navy brat, but call California my home from the teenage years.
You fit the mold of a Californian. So so anyway, what happened was, well, Thom and I and his beautiful partner, we met at the Soulogy Fest in the physical, and they've been following Soulogy for quite some time. It was quite interesting getting to know him, and so he had proposed. We've been staying in touch since Soulogy Fest, and he had proposed a little collaboration here in about 3 days, which we're not going to announce yet. We still got a couple things to work out, but we're going to do it, and it'll be kind of cool. So anyway, Thom, he wanted to do a sound check, and he asked me if I wanted to record it, and I said, well, with the app in the studio, I couldn't record it, but we could go live. So he said, well, yeah, let's do that. But so Thom, he actually can recreate the dig to a degree with his voice. He's got an incredible voice. He came on a open mic a while back, and he shared some with us. I think it was after the silent unification, and then he also plays the dig very well. So we're gonna do a sound check. We're just gonna give it a shot and capture the sound and test the sound. And so this is Thom Gilligan. He's my friend, and welcome everybody. Stick around. This ought to be kind of cool. And so, Thom, I'm gonna hand it over to you. When you start, I'm going to turn my mic off, so I cut all the sound from here.
Alrighty.
So you just tell me what you need us to do or what you would like to do.
Okay. Well, I'll take us through. Rather than just sound checking, I'll give a few energy contributions to whoever is listening and whoever will listen in the now that comes along all the time. Okay. All right. Well, so I consider myself, other than a human being and having a life as an engineer, a bit of a tonal artist. My journey with the didgeridoo started about 35 years ago. I heard it being played back then it wasn't so common to have it out in public. So I went down to the hardware store, bought a piece of bamboo, and made myself my first didge, which wasn't a very good one. So it was good for me because it was hard to play. And I was self-taught myself how to play. So really, I've never had a didge master or anybody to learn from. All right, so can everybody see this here? Yes, is the answer. This is a really beautiful painted didge. It was given to me as a gift by a friend who had gone to Australia. So it has all that beautiful painting that they put on. You have a comment, Todd? Or
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
nice.
Yeah, it's
It's
beautiful.
very nice. Yeah.
I think it's a salamander. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe.
I don't know. It looks pretty
I
incredible.
think it's all right. So I've played this one some. I don't play it. I'll give you another ditch, some for playing. But here's the first sound check. So is that picking up, Todd?
Yes, it's picking up good.
All right.
It's
So
picking up real good.
before I play it a lot more, let me bring its energy into my heart by what I'm going to do now. Okay. Did that come across okay?
It's coming across fine. Real good. Jeez.
It's just an hors d'oeuvre there, Todd.
That's just an hors d'oeuvre?
Yeah, you want more? I just going through my little repertoire.
Yeah, your lungs must be like.
Well, you know how that
taxed.
works, right? Circular breath. Everyone knows about that, I guess.
Yeah, you have to keep it going like a bagpipe.
Yeah, when you play the bagpipe, you have a bladder that you're pushing. Circular breathing can be done by anybody playing a wind instrument. I'm not too loud, am I? It's just perfect. Or
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
So what you do when you're, and anybody can practice this. I like to teach people every time I play dig. So if you blow like this on your hand, like blow,
Yeah.
then you can squirt the air out like using this, like you're squirting water out of your mouth. Like, then you can breathe in and go.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you kind of conserve your push.
Yeah. So what's going on is you're breathing out of your lungs to make, because you have to have your vocal cords vibrating, and then sorry, not your vocal cords because you're not singing. So it's your lips that are vibrating, and then right when you need to breathe in, you feel your cheeks like a chipmunk, and then you just squirt your air out of those just across your lips, and it's just like half a second. So I'll switch over to this dig, which is my 30-year companion that I played for 30 years, one I brought to Soulogy.
Really?
It has a little bit deeper pitch. So what I'll do to the people watching it, whenever I'm breathing in, I'll just lift my finger up so it's clear.
Okay. Okay.
It's kind of hard to do that. I don't practice that much, but and then if you're like really low and you want to take a deep breath, you go you can oxygenate by so every dig player has to learn to do that cycle, like and then once you have a full lung, well, here comes a full lung, just for an example. So if you get too low, it's a little hard to make that transition. But anybody who plays it a lot gets their lungs kind of get used to breathing out. And you actually get to a point where in order to have the oxygen, even though you still have you have air in your lungs, you need to breathe in some fresh air. So you do the circular breathing again. So
you make it sound pretty easy.
Imagine
it takes some time.
So I think anything that one learns, if someone's fascinated by something, they learn it more quickly. If you dig into it, you learn more quickly. And it was just in a time in my life, I was still a student. I had to study. So I used the Dig just a way to, you're kind of feeling tired. You're trying to read through something. Just stop and go over and pick it up and teach myself the next little story. And it was, again, like I said, the first Dig I had was really hard to play.
Have you ever, I'm just curious, you're an engineer. I know the area you live in, there's a lot of engineering groups and companies that utilize engineers, large engineer divisions. Have you ever shared your Dig with like your coworkers or your work environment?
I'll tell you a little funny story because there's a small yes to that. But I have one foot in my corporate life.
Yeah.
I'm a biochemical engineer. I've been doing biotechnology for 35, closing on 40 years soon. If you talk about mRNA and RNA and DNA and all that words everyone's learning a lot about,
yeah,
I knew all that 35 years ago.
Wow.
Right. That was kind of like, so everything about the unspeakable jabs, I kind of can read into that one, just read the papers if I want. On the other foot, I have my spiritual life that is more of a spirit than it is a religion. Makes sense to everybody here, I think.
Yeah.
I read some books by a fellow named Ken Carey. Some people may be familiar with him. He put him out in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So I think it was, just prior to the harmonic convergence. I don't know. Are you familiar with Ken Carey, Todd?
I'm trying to remember. He didn't write
Starseed Transmissions, Notes to My Children, Vision.
I don't recall.
So he's still around.
Yeah. I don't recall reading him. I read a lot in the 80s. I was getting him mixed up with Ken Key's Handbook to Higher Consciousness. But
okay, well,
keep going.
Denise has confirmed that I'm the first lesson of circular breath. That's Soul Speaks 5D. She's on the chat line. In any case, Ken was a hippie, went out with his wife into the Ozark Mountains and tried to live off the land, and was doing that as a carpenter, and then had his moment where in some kind of illness, etc., his own story, he began to channel. And
wow.
From that channeled material, he had an old typewriter and pre-computer, so he sat down and typed this all out. And that became the books that he put out. And so I was in Switzerland after college. I went there, and my interest then was Vipassana meditation, yoga. That was my spiritual life, if you will. I was balancing my corporate life there in Switzerland in my 20s. And I saw a book on the shelf. It was in German because they translated it. So I read the first Ken Carey book that I read in German. And immediately I could feel it vibrating in my hands. Like here you are, you have no clue what's going on. Every time you pick up the book, your hands are vibrating.
Wow.
That feeling like this is what I get. Oh, wow.
Have you ever met him?
No, I haven't. I'll tell you about that in just a second, though. But I read, so I read that book, and then and the book, the German translation said where you could buy other books. So I wrote to him personally because he had a little homepage, and this is all pre-internet. So I wrote to him and his publisher, and I bought all these books with a check that I wrote from Switzerland, sent the letter.
Wow.
And he wrote back and said, "Here's your books, thank you." And they really helped me. this is all just before the harmonic convergence, so I'm kind of getting into that. And I remember thinking, I want to be there when it happens. And here it's now. Here we are in 2021. It's happening.
So I guess through his books, you were aware of the upcoming harmonic convergence?
Right. So if you read his books, again, it's channeled, and people can have their belief or experience in the authenticity of channeling. And
okay, so you mean channeling like the raw law of one books?
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
He the story. I believe he told the story of how it all happened in a book that he then wrote later.
Okay.
And so in any case, because this ties in, I think it was, can't remember the name. So then he had been a carpenter, and then when he moved on the land, he was doing carpentry, but he was just to the point where he's earning off of his books enough to support his young family. And then I got a letter, dear everyone who's bought books from me, my publisher's gone out of business, and my cash flow from my books have stopped, and I have a choice to go back to carpentry or finish the book I'm working on. So anybody who wants to help me out, please do that. So I wrote him a check from Switzerland. I had an American bank account still, and I just wrote him a check, and he was happy of that and sent me a preprint of the book that he was finishing when he got close.
Cool.
See, I never met him, but I feel like if he hears this, he may remember me.
I hope he hears. What's his name? How do you spell it?
Ken, Ken, Carey.
Okay.
Starseed Transmissions was one of his. I think Vision might have been the first book.
Starseed Transmissions. See, I would have remembered. I didn't in the 80s. I didn't pick up anything that was galactic.
Yeah. Well, there's also a really nice book that probably is still apropos for now. It's called Notes to My Children, and it's like this book. I don't know whether it was the channel voice or Ken's voice speaking of what he knew, but how do you give this message to your children?
Right.
Like a child's tales. And so anyway, anyone who wants to look that up,
so you were aware via these books of the upcoming harmonic convergence.
Let's say this: what I was aware of was that there will be a point in time. This is what I remember best, when everybody simultaneously on Earth has an open heart, just for a moment, and that will be like a moment of Satori-ish, like, and then they will unfold back to themselves and decide which way they're going to go to become where we are today, moving toward this great loving cohesion that we're creating in humanity, or to resist that, and whatever that meant, to not. And then through that would be a cleansing of the earth. But it was a very positive thing, and that the earth would be renewed and humans would gather together, and all manner of new beautiful technologies would come forward, and there would be a 1,000-year period of amazing, peaceful technology where humans are steering, the earth's flesh and into beautiful things.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's worth reading. It's older material, but I would, anybody who likes this, anyway, he was my kickstart, if you will. And I do remember again just saying, when this all unfolds, I want to be there.
Well, you're here.
Yeah, here I am.
It's happening.
All right,
it's
so
definitely happening.
So then, a few years later, my company sent me to Japan for a year, and I wound up landing in Kyoto, or landing in Narita Airport, which is near Tokyo, but coming to Kyoto and living there. My job was at the university on behalf of my company with a professor, and so I went out and I bought a piece of bamboo in a Japanese hardware store. And I drilled a hole down the middle of it.
How would you drill a hole that deep?
Okay. So, This is a lesson on how to make your own bamboo didge for like $10 worth of materials after you buy the bamboo.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So here's how to do it. First of all, I call this a septum, but it's these little places in the bamboo where, there's a membrane. Because the way bamboo grows when it's small, it grows at each of those locations.
Right.
So when the bamboo is small, there's like 10 of those within an inch of each other. And then it adds a 1/4 inch a day. But since there's 10, you get 2.5, 3 inches because they're all growing. So the bamboo's growing like a telescope, not a telescope, like a collapsing. Okay. So anyway, that's how bamboo grows. But it has this septum there that has some miraculous role in the plant function. But when you get the bamboo, and Japan sells bamboo that's nice and conditioned to where it's not dried out nicely, doesn't crack so much. In any case, the next thing you need then is a threaded bar. It's like a bolt that would fit screws. Yeah. And you can buy those in hardware stores for putting something together. Something that's 3 feet, 4 feet apart to pull some beams together or something.
Right.
These long. Then you just take it and you just keep smashing it down through, popping through the septums until you get through the bottom. That takes about a minute or two, depending on how.
Okay, I got you. So it's already hollowed except for where the septums are.
Yeah, it's naturally hollow.
Yeah.
And then now that you pick up, obviously, for those who aren't too mathematically inclined or engineered, the bolt has to be longer than the didge, right? Because you want it to be. So then you just hold it at the bottom of your feet and you just go like that. Just keep moving it around. So that bolt becomes like a file. It just files off.
Yeah, a true engineer.
Yeah, it's like provisioning. I just did it. So anyway, that created a didge that played for a long time. And I taught myself in Japan. Let me come back to my story, but let me do a little musicality here again. Okay, so here's how this one sounds. Now that's my technique. It's not very Aboriginal digi sounding, but what I'm doing there is I'm playing the bass note and then I'm singing in to it, kind of doing whatever. And the notes that are gonna, so there's a musical, or I'd say it's a physical outcome that people record music and know about. It's called a beat. Right. And it's not a beat like the beat of the rhythm. Right. When two notes get close to each other, you start to get an oscillation between them. Okay. And what a good way to portray this to people is like, because I know everyone's seen this. You're sitting near the front of the bus on a rainy journey, and the windshield wipers going like this, right? And then you kind of notice they're like doing this, and then next thing you know, it seems like they're going like that, and then you keep watching it, and pretty soon they're kind of seem chaotic, and the next thing you know, it's like, okay. Yeah. So if this is going 12 times per minute, and this is going 13,
you're right.
Then every minute they're going to be together because they're coming back into phase.
Oh, I see.
Now that simple thing in a brain also explains astrology and why planets and cycles and retrogrades and all that stuff. It's just a mathematical. But so the cycle of one minute would be the frequency at which they come back together. They're out of phase, and then they're kind of like even out of phase, and then they come into phase. Yeah. So you take a 12 times per minute oscillation and a 13 times per minute oscillation, and you put them together, and you get a 1 minute beat. Okay.
I got you.
So that's what this sounds like.
Yeah, it's complete when they come back together.
Yes, and the frequency of the beat is mathematically related to the differential between the two sounds, the two frequencies. So now take this example and bring it up to what we hear, because everything we hear is about 200 hertz or so, 200 cycles per second, maybe 300. And middle C somewhere in the 400s, 440 or whatever it is. So now if this has a bass tone like this, then when I get to that note, you'll hear what happens. So that oscillation you're hearing, the wah 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 kind of, that's not me oscillating my voice, that's me singing in different pitches. And the closer I get to the basal pitch, the longer the beat frequency gets.
That's trippy.
Yeah,
I
it's
never
trippy.
knew that.
There's math behind it. But I played with that a lot, just so when you play Dig, so Dig only has one tone, whatever the basic is, but it's a percussive instrument too. So like this is percussive, like. And when you hear that sonic sort of the pitch is oscillating, I'm doing like a Jew's harp player would. I'm going, kind of letting my mouth move around, but I'm not singing.
So the sound is changing. It's the sound itself to some degree. I know there's an oscillating, but to some degree is predicated by the shape of your mouth.
Yes. Okay. All the sounds we emit is in the speech is predicated by the shape of our mouth.
I got you.
Yeah, that's kind of underlying. We'll get to that a little too, because I remember you talking. I think it was the woman from South Africa who speaks with you sometimes.
Oh, Judith Kuzel.
Yeah, Kuzel or
Judith Kuzel. Yeah.
Kuzel. Okay. So she was talking about the old Hebraic sounds, and I know when we were at Soulogy, I met Dr. Hirtak for a few minutes, who does some of the same kind of tonal things. So that each vowel has a different sound, and that's what we recognize. So, but like, I guess the instrument that I would call most similar to the Dig in this respect is the Jew's harp, the little twangy thing. Because all you're doing with the Jew's harp is you're making an oscillator, you're going this little, and then if you just make different sound, you don't make any sound, but you move your mouth as if you'd be making different vowel sounds, then you get this sound in the Dig. It's like this again. And you, like, by kind of almost coming like you're going to spit into it or change the dynamic of your breath, you create that.
Yeah,
it's sort of blowing out. So let me show you then.
It's tricky. I never knew this. This is crazy.
So circular breathing is actually very relaxing. Like if you would chant Om for an hour, you would be very relaxed. But you tend to fall asleep, or at least I do. If I don't know, try to chant Om for a solid hour, and something happens to me where I kind of feel like I'm gonna fall asleep.
I've never chanted it more than 3 times.
Yeah. See, so anyway, but when you're like breathing out, then it's because you're active, you're using your body. Anyway, so, but so if I go like this, if I go.
Wow.
If I did that, like without the Dig, just like a primal scream, like scream into a pillow therapy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason it doesn't sound like a scream is because when you scream into the open air, there's no resistance to your voice, right? It's just you scream outward. But when you scream, you're screaming down into a tube. It's like it's channeling it a little. And when you scream into your mouth, going, like, it's So then you can exercise the diaphragmatic muscles that you would use for screaming, but you don't have to scream. You don't get like your downstairs neighbor and doesn't get bothered by you.
This is wild.
Yeah. So Seriously? then I kind of do a like half an hour. I have to drop in with a funny little story, because when I was living in Japan, I also was a juggler in college, and I had some juggling balls with me. And I remember one day I was juggling, and I was dropping the balls a little bit, right? And after about 10 minutes of juggling, the neighbor downstairs came up and rang the doorbell and asked me in Japanese to to stop what I was doing, whatever it was, because all they was hearing was juggling balls.
Oh my God.
But they never complained about my ditching, so I figured they didn't hear it. So then this is the next phase. So here I am in Japan, and I have my didge here. Can you hear how it gets a little more hollow when I'm talking down it? So this became my next sound experience to myself. It goes like this, yes. Anyway, that's
really cool. That sounds.
It's just singing into the ditch.
That sounds like. Sounds like the native flute.
Yes, Shakuhachi.
And it sounds a bit. It sounds a bit Asian as well. No wonder the Japanese neighbors didn't complain.
Yeah. Shakuhachi is the name of the Japanese flute. It has keys. I mean, holes in it for fluting. And it's played. But I think it's open like that. So any kind of flute instrument needs something to cut across it. So it's cutting across. I believe they play it like this, like it's an open hole that they just play into. Whereas like the Indian flute, you blow into it and there's a cutter that's on top of the Indian flute that goes on the top.
Now, I played a couple of really long bass Indian flutes. One had the 4 holes and one I think had 8, and it took a lot. Have you ever played like one of those long Indian flutes? Have you ever played anything like that?
I have a Native American style flute. I don't have it sitting right near me right now, but it's probably 4 feet long.
Wow.
I think it has. Yep, it has 6 holes in it.
Yeah, I think it was 6. I said 8. Hey, so I'm just curious. So this has been going on for 30 plus years. So what would you say on average the number of hours you've played the didge per day?
It's a fractional number measure over all those years.
Yeah, I'm just saying on average. I'm sure you've had highs and lows, but if you had to say on average, have you played 30 minutes a day? An hour?
Not on average, no, because I've set it down for many years. I'll tell you a small story there. That's, and it's part of being here with you today, and at the encouragement of my lovely wife, Mavona, who we're going to meet another time. I'm bringing this back in because it's needed now. I was just listening to. Oh, here she just brought me the flute. I was just listening to Patricia Cota Robles. She does her weekly little vlogs. So she's calling on us to help the elementals this week. I don't know if you've listened to her thing recently, but I don't know her vocabulary about the Mother, Father, God, and the violet flame and the all heaven. She has her way of speaking these words, and I listen. I go yes, 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 but I can't speak them out. Right. But But this is needed now. Part of what we're doing in Soulogy is to just unify ourselves, bring ourselves together, keep encouraging each other, recognize each other's gifts, open up the divine female, be the divine male in both cases. But, like the men seek their divine masculine to become their fullness within themselves, and then open out to the divine feminine inside of themselves. It's a journey, and I'm not saying the men generally are trying to work with the divine masculine a little more. So that's the flute there. Has a little eagle on it. So
cool.
It's not hard to find where the notes
I had
go.
no idea we were going to do this today.
Yeah. If you need time, you just speak up. We'll close out.
No, I'm good. I'm just saying I had no idea. I've got all the time in the world.
Okay. So this one.
Let's see. I have a meeting at 2 hours from now.
Okay. So I probably most American kids in our generation, Todd, had to learn to play the recorder. I don't know if you did, or maybe that was a California thing.
Play what?
The little recorder, little plastic. Well, in my school, you spent $5 to buy a little plastic recorder. It's an instrument called a recorder, right? It has some key, and it has a little hole in the back right here.
Okay.
So I learned to play the recorder in third or fourth grade. I think we were trying to learn about musical notes, and they gave us a score to look at while we're playing it, and I wasn't good at that, but I learned a few songs on the recorder. But because of that, my fingers can move naturally across the holes of a flute,
right on.
like that. I haven't played this too much.
How many how do you say the didgeridoo? I can't ever say that.
Didgeridoo is how I say it.
Didgeridoo. Okay.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo. How many didgeridoos do you It sounds like she sells seashells at the seashore. Yeah. How many didgeridoos do you have?
I have, let's say, 3 of them that I can play and like playing. Mm-hmm. And I have another one that looks pretty, but isn't. It's not a very authentically made one. So it doesn't sound the wood is very dense, and in order to sound good, they need to have, the wood has to vibrate enough. So I've never had too many. The very first one that I bought was literally 7 feet long. Like I didn't realize to cut it down short enough.
7 feet long?
Yeah, it was like taller than me. Part of it was I was generally aware of the science of chakras at that point. So I would try to keep one section of the didge in the bamboo for each chakra, So if you have this thing here and you have 7 of those, that made it pretty long.
Jeez.
Yeah. But this one, let me tell you the kind of like a personal story about this one. When I was in Japan, I made it and I was playing it a lot. And there were these expatriate meetings that would happen once a month in Kyoto. Expatriates were anybody who wasn't Japanese. I mean, people who were Japanese were welcome to come, but it was a group of people meeting once a month to have fun and recite some poetry or do some singing or do something. So I did a couple didge sessions for them. And that's when I first became aware of people wanting me to come to their body with my didge and do some healing. Like, could you play this on me right here? So I did a bit of that, not knowing my healing potential, if you will, not consciously being or portraying or thinking myself as a healer, but I began to become aware of how some people really felt it in them and wanted and I'm not really feeling a lot of energy, though many people are, and so many sensitive people who are open to their energy
Right.
would want this. So when I began to play in groups, I would tell people, I'm going to play around. If you want me to come to you, just when I get near you, raise your hand. And if there's any part in your body where you want me to play for a while, just point and I'll go there. So I was doing that probably 6 or 10 times over the years in various settings. And then I went to but my ditch had, when I moved to Colorado, it began to crack because Colorado is very dry.
Right.
And eventually it dried a little. And by cracking, it made it where the sound just wasn't as good. And I kind of thought, I don't know. So then I sort of took some rubber bands and tried to get it to hold together better. But it was almost going to go in the garbage can. Like, I was like, I don't know, this little ditch. And then I went to a special healing session. The man who was presenting it, his name is Ash Dargan, ASHDARGAN, Ash Dargan. And he was born in Australia to an Aboriginal family and adopted by a white family. Was raised in a white culture. When he was 21, this is as I understand his story, he was able to find out where he came from legally. And
okay.
So he did, and he found out his tribe, and he went back, and his mother was a wise woman there, one of the keepers of the deep healing art. And so his tribe immediately greeted him and invited him, and he wound up spending 2 years living with the men in the bush as a grown man, going through the, what do you call that, initiatory processes that the men took their young boys through, hunting, and a big part of that was learning how to play the didge, learning how to hit those sticks and do everything. So he became a didge player in his own right. And when I met him, he was in his maybe mid-30s. He was living in Denver, and he was doing this session. And the first half of the day was learn to play didge, and the second half, or in the evening, was a healing session. So I signed up for both. We went into the healing session after I enjoyed the day learning to play didge, but I was already knew kind of. And he went into the healing session. He took a didge, a beautiful new didge he had donated to him by a didge maker. And he was starting to play it. He got a person to lay down on the floor, and he was going to work on them. And he stopped, tried again, and then he kind of looks up at his partner, his girlfriend, who also organized things for him. They walked out of the room, and then we hear a didge outside, and that was out in the foyer. And he walks in holding my didge, which I'd left outside, my old beat up, half rubber banded together didge. And he said, "Whose is this?" And I said, "Well, that's mine. That's my didge." "Well, can I use it tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then he started kind of seeing the tone of it. And then he looked up at everybody and he said, "Okay, everybody find a relaxed position on the floor or lay around because this is a group healing." And I thought, holy shit. My didge told him what I've been doing.
Wow.
He was sensitive enough to pick it up, but I realized that was my, wait a second, my didge is talking to him, talking to me through him. Don't throw me away, like give me a lease on life here. He played it. And so then I went home. The reason I tell this story is then I modified it. So this is the upgraded hole down the ditch. Okay. So this is the next higher order. There's these little drill bits.
So this is kind of like Willie Nelson's guitar.
Is it?
You know how he's got that guitar? It's got the big hole in it because he's played it. It's called, I forget the name of it.
Oh, the back end, like he's
Trigger or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, so this is the same one you've had the entire
Yeah, I've had it for 30 years. This is about, let's see, 19. Trying to get it right. Maybe 15 years. And it had literally been sitting around because having been in Colorado for a little while, it wasn't working well. And I actually rubber banded it tightly because I was taking it to this didge session I just told you about, and I wanted it to work again. All right. So then I modified it in a way that's helped a whole lot. So this is the next engineering thing. You take a drill bit. It's designed to put holes in doors right there.
Yeah.
And attach that to a long. There's pieces for doing this that let it sit, on your drill, but really far, long.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I went to the bottom end, and you see how perfectly round that is?
Yes.
That's because I just took this thing and I went and drilled right in.
You're talking about a hole. You're talking about a hole saw.
A hole saw, yeah. Just use a hole saw and an extender.
Yeah.
And took it in to the very end. Yeah.
Wow.
And then that was a lot easier to do because I'd already done what I did in Japan. Make most of it gone. Right. I was really just trimming up little bits, made it whole. And then I poured probably a quart or maybe a pint and a half of 2-part epoxy. So, you mix the epoxy and you have 5 or 10 minutes for it to solidify. So I poured a quart of epoxy in and just spun it until I corded the whole thing with epoxy. Now it's lasted 20 more years or 15 more years.
This is crazy. So knowing that in the age of non-attachment, the last thing you would give up would be Mafona. What would be the second to the last thing?
Not this ditch.
No.
No, I know where you're going, but I'll tell you why.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying you must have an incredible. I think it's almost like a part of you.
The ditch.
Yeah.
This thing. Oh yeah, it's that's an unfair question, but if I'm going somewhere out to outer space and I can take 4 or 5 things with me,
yeah,
this is one of them. Then if they'll allow it to go, in a little spaceship or something.
Yeah.
If I would move on, and every pair, I only wear jeans and t-shirts, sort of, and I have more shoes because I know Mavona and she encouraged me to buy them. I probably would own 3 pairs of shoes. Typical sort of what do you call it? Anyway.
Yeah, we're looking forward to meeting y'all together.
Yeah.
That ought to be really interesting.
But the reason I don't need my dig is, I'll explain it kind of with the dig, but let me go back into a sound mode here. So that's really, the dig isn't needed here. It's just because it has a resonant sound. By singing into it, it helps to give gives without a reverb, just gives a nice.
No, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's real nice. So are you going to do like a group healing now? Can you do?
If you'd like, let me tell you just a little more, and then I can do some.
Yeah, that's cool.
So when you were talking to Judith Kuzo, sorry about not knowing the pronunciation.
Kuzo. Yeah.
My recollection was she talked about the chakras and the sounds. Okay.
Right.
So I was going to actually ask you, Todd, if you wanted to do a call and response, maybe, to try this with me. I don't know if you're into it. I know you're into stuff.
I'm into anything. I don't know what I know what a call and response is. But.
So I'm going to do sort of something, and then you try to let it out of you, okay? Like, make it simple, just to show you and your audience that this isn't so far away. This isn't magical, all right? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose the vowel ah. And when you do your mouth's very open. Try that. Yeah. Now, keep this in mind. When you breathe in, that's what takes exercise. The breathing in lowers the diaphragm. That's when your muscles work. Breathing out is relaxation. All you're doing is holding muscles. You're not using muscles like actively. Okay. So when you do this just relax out as you breathe. You breathe in however you like, and then relax out. So okay.
Like that.
Let me go up. Is that if the other part is if you give it support, okay, when you're down low in your range, the deeper range, and so for women, that would be a higher pitch than we are doing, but every person has their low part of their range, okay? So anybody trying this should do it at their low end of their range at a pitch that they can call supporting. So, try that.
I can't go that low for one thing, and
then go up another. We'll go up.
My vocal cord is not.
You're more of a tenor. Okay, so
no, I'm not a tenor. I'm a G, but I can't like. All right, hang on.
Try this one.
I have to. Yes. What is that? C? Is that C?
I don't know.
Like that.
Okay. Now go mom.
All right.
Okay. Now try making. I'll be quiet. Make that last longer. Like breathe in enough to make it last longer, like as long as it does. Don't overdo it.
Mom.
Okay, so you have plenty of lung capacity to do.
Yeah, I've got plenty of lung capacity.
Now here's the next part. The comes from the heart. Okay.
All right.
Don't worry about what's in your head. So it's ma, but like pull out the ma from the heart.
All right. Mom.
Okay.
Like that?
Right. Now try going lower. Go ma until you feel comfortable.
Mom. Like that?
Okay, so ma, that's like, I'm going to try again. Ma, yeah, that's your, okay. Ma. Okay, now we're going to do moo. Moo. Try that, moo.
All right, hang on. Moo. I can't do the low. Yeah.
Okay, moo. Stay at one pitch. Moo. Don't go down. Just moo. Okay, that's good. Moo. So moo is the root chakra.
The root chakra.
Yeah. Okay. Moo. Moo. Try that.
Moo.
Okay.
I'm laughing because I'm having a feeling sensation.
That's good. Take you into my comfort zone and away from yours.
Okay. Here we go.
All right. So now you got moo.
Moo, moo, moo. This is kind of sacred sexy.
Okay, well there you go. It is indeed. It's chakra. So, all right. So then now moo, ma, like mud, ma. ma.
Ma.
Right. So now you know mu ma ma mu ma ma.
Mu ma ma.
Right. Ma. Now may. Okay. So the ma is the hara, right? The second chakra.
The sacral.
Root. What, I don't know all official names.
Sacral. All right.
Sacral is a root. That's mu or
So mu ma ma.
like mud. That's
Yeah.
the second
Ma
chakra.
ma.
Ma. Then ma is the heart chakra.
Okay.
So then me, that's the throat chakra. Me.
Me. Hang on. Go ahead. Start me.
Okay. So let's go through.
Okay.
I'm just going to talk to them about you, and then we'll work you through them more progressively. Okay.
Okay.
So you got mu down here. Mu. That's the
mu
ma ma me. That's the throat chakra.
Yeah,
now, this one here is the crown chakra and the third eye chakra. Okay.
Okay.
Me. You got to tighten it in. Me.
I got it. Me.
Yeah. So it's kind of like me.
Oh, that's both of them in one.
Yeah, they're actually separate.
Okay, I got you.
You're going to get it in the
Do it again.
You're going to feel it in the overtones as a separation. It's hard to describe it as a vowel.
Yeah. Do it again. Let me hear it.
Me.
Okay.
Then you're moving between the crown and the throat.
I kind of got it.
You feel so.
That's a little bit.
So now what I'm going to do for you just to listen. Don't think you got to practice this to get it. You just got to do it in your quiet, and anybody listening can go through this. So now I'm going to do all of this together. Okay. All right. So just I'm going to move through them just without mays, without M's. Okay. I can't hear it so much because of my headphones, but can you hear these tones going down? The background tones?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear those. Yes.
So those are the overtones. Yeah. Now, so whatever my resonant pitch is, like whatever pitch I choose to sing in, and I encourage people to do this near the bottom of your register. Now I'm going to move it up higher in my register, and you'll hear these tones better. But can you hear them kind of like that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's the magic of it. All right. So what I'm doing there is I'm singing and down through the overtone scale. It's just and I'm just falling through them. I'm letting my voice gently move through. And if you hear them kind of seem to come out, that's because they're in a harmonic resonance. They reach these harmonic resonances, and those have interval. They have a mathematical interval to the undertone, to the basic pitch. That's part of the science of it. But I'm going to do it where I sing down and back. Okay, so this is what that goes like. I'll do it low. Can you hear this in the background?
Yes.
The deeper tone. Okay. All right. So if I try to tell you to sing that, I'm going to say, here's the one word you got to sing. Now be ready for this. Here's the word you got to sing. And maybe you can do it.
Wait, I forget all the sounds.
No, I know, because there's one word that you need.
All right.
And here's the word.
Okay.
Yahweh.
Okay, I got you.
Yahweh. Now, do you hear what word that is?
Yahweh.
Yeah.
Yahweh.
No, don't change pitch. Don't change pitch. Stay on whatever pitch.
Okay. 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 Hang on.
Go ahead. Try it again.
Wait. Yahweh. Something like that.
Kind of. So here's the magic of it, Todd. The word Yahweh, Yahweh, all right, is an instruction on how to do this over 10 scales. It's just an instruction word, Yahweh. Let's go do Yahweh together. You want to do Yahweh together? Okay, Yahweh.
Okay.
And then we do it together.
Oh, we do it together.
No, what I mean is it's a word. To make it into a word to talk about it,
okay,
we use this word Yahweh.
Okay.
But if you stretch the word out and you do it, so now that you know the word Yahweh, and let's listen to what I'm doing here. So, okay. So when you know that the word Yahweh is in there, because our minds want a word or like Om or you see how then you can get this overtone come down and back up. So it's the instruction set on how to do the overtone scale from top down and then back up. Okay. Now, nice. I think what's going on is when you do this and you go into yourself, then you're reaching out to the heavens, you're reaching out through your higher self, you're getting to the divine source. And you have to establish your pitch. You say, here I am, this is my, that's my pitch, whatever it is. And then you put yourself up in and you tone this information down into your body, right to your heart, right into your heart and your root chakra. So that's bringing it in, okay?
Jeez.
Once you get that working, then you sing it back out. Release it back out to the use of all life. Whatever
Far
that.
out.
Yeah. So Yahweh is really an instruction set on how to nourish, how to bring in the energy and your love and all this beautiful divine love, and then like put it back out there, vibrationally back into the earth. See, so that's the name of God.
It's far out, man.
Yeah. So that's why I don't need my ditch, because if I don't have it, I can still do Yahweh. Okay.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I could feel the different, chakras. I could feel them. I could feel it was easy to align with it. You know what I mean? Like at a frequency level that you could feel it connect to the chakra, and then you could align with that, right? You almost like you had like a place to guide you or ground you to that point.
Right. So some people are sensitive to all types of energies and all types of bodily sensations and locations in their body, and many people get visual information along with those. So this is a way to enter and move through those spaces, but do it with a tonal exercise.
Yeah.
It's just like doing calisthenics or something.
It's a lot,
there's no mystery to it. It's just Yahweh is the instruction on how to do this. Yeah. So if people allow it to be that way, I think anybody can. Then the trick is, the two tricks then are keep the same tone. Don't move into intermodal, don't go across and make melodies. Keep a tone. And if you're deep, but it's not, you're supporting it, rise, pick a higher tone and go in there. And once you're in, use breath to support it. And remember that breathing out is a relaxation, not an effort.
Yeah.
I think if people take that and then they work, they're going to get this going for themselves any way they want.
It's certainly seems to be the most, first of all, the most universally applicable method for alignment, and it seems to me to be the easiest. Like, I would say that's even more. It's more of a potential of alignment, especially of embodiment, than even merging. It is merging, really. It is merging, like with yourself. And then if you got another person or two or three or four or five, I would imagine it would be even more powerful. Somebody just said we should create a Zoom room and put a bunch of us in there and start doing this. I would imagine that would just like make the earth shake, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been, I think our technologies, like we were discussing before we came online, it's hard to have these communal spaces where all voices are mixing, though. The technologies try to, as if one person's talking at a time. And I'm sure
I think it'd be worth a shot. You actually wouldn't have a problem, but with the speed of the streams. This show, your stream has been dropping high and low, but it's not affected anything. So I've found that as time has gone on, that even with let's say the man-made glitches, there's another energy at work that kind of brings everything back. If the frequencies are in alignment, so I mean, anyone that's watched enough of these shows has seen this occur, and I've seen it occur a lot and it's unarguable. Like David Icke comes on and he's done thousands and thousands of shows. They've never had this happen before. And, it got quirky by human standards, but it all came together. And inside of that quirkiness, there was a transmission of code. And of course, it's happened with many, many others. But so I think it'd be worth a shot. And on that note, so what is it? Because I get so much stuff coming, and I've been interacting with a lot of people through messages, trying to catch up on emails, 9 hours last night. And I can't remember everything, but March the 6th, there's some type of conjunction that you picked up on.
So
from Julie.
This was right. So within on Friday,
there she is. Friday. Julie Dara Roberts.
Hi, Judy. Hi, Julie.
She says
she's the one.
She says it works okay. She does it regularly, sound toning via Zoom. It's certainly not the best, like in person. It does create a power field still, even with a bit of sound glitching cutting in and out.
Right. And also Julie was the one who was talking, and she does these Friday astrology sessions with you every couple of weeks.
Yes.
And she was talking about a conjunction that happens at sunrise on the 6th. And there was even a meteor that was coming right on through. So assuming there's a discrete timing for that conjunction actually, because sunrise is around the Earth all the time, right? So sunrise in Houston happens to be at 7:15 on Monday, and depending on where you are in that time zone, it'll be a little different, depending on which time zone. But my suggestion to Todd was to have a group meditate together a bit around that conjunction at the right time, and that I would do a some offering of the kind of things I've been showing today, but done in a sense of meditativeness. And
we got to see when the silent unification is. I think the silent unification is usually on the weekend. So this would be Monday, Northern Hemisphere, Tuesday. Wait, would it be Tuesday? No, it would actually be 7 a.m. So it'd still be the same day. So yeah, we'll see what the.
You guys work it out. Talk to Julie about the exact timing of that conjunction.
Yeah, I need to get with Yvonne and Morgan.
She's right there listening.
When the silent unification is, because it's not. I'm not sure. I'll find out. Let me write that down. So this has been very cool. Yes. All right. I thought you were going to do the what do you call it? Call and respond. I thought you were going to do it with the dig and then make me respond to it.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know you were going to give us a lesson in attunement. It says, okay, the comets later in the month. There's a cosmic alignment Stargate, October 6th. She will elaborate. She can't type much now. She's probably being a mom. She's being a mama bear. She said she's going to call you today.
Yeah.
On the phone. Okay. So let me talk to.
I'll talk to her
and Ivania. See when the and even go ahead.
It doesn't have to be the silent one. It could be one devoted to this, conjunction.
No. I know that. I'm just.
But
saying,
it could be done in the spirit of the silent one, like multiple.
No, what I'm saying is I don't want it to overlap.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm saying. They're two separate things we're talking about here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to close us out with anything?
Yeah. So okay, I'll do a little spontaneous. So, all intentions offered silently to the group energy, and those intentions can flow into what I'm offering to bring back to people. There you go.
Man, that's some badassery.
Namaste, everyone.
That's just. I'm not even like you couldn't get me to sit for stuff like that, but there's a this is just all meant to be, no coincidences. So, so you and Julie hook up today. I'm like vibrating. I'm vibrating. My head is spinning.
Yeah. Got to keep you on the ground for your next session.
No, I'll be all right.
All right.
So this is just this is really it for me. It brings back a lot of memory. It brings back a lot of memory. So, and I'm all about sound. It's all about sound, and it's about beats. The beats you told us about, the regular beats, the melody, everything. It's all about mixing all of that. All the different frequencies, including visuals. It's everything. Images. So now I had no idea we were going to do this today. I thought we were going to spend 20 minutes doing a sound check.
Yeah.
But this is cool. This is the way it's supposed to be. Spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative. And I'm just, like the first thing that really stood out for me was as I was taking your energy in, once we went live and kind of started to roll a little bit, was your vulnerability. Like you were taking a step, you were coming out. And so a lot of people come on the show and they're coming out telling a story, and you did tell some of your story, but it was very different and it wasn't just words. So the energy of frequency was big today, like big in your energy, big in the instrument, big in the story, and I really feel like that it was very powerful thing. So we'll be seeing you again in a few days.
I'm so grateful to be able to offer this to my beautiful wife and your beautiful wife and all the beautiful goddesses and divine feminine and divine masculines that you're able to interview every day to offer back to us. And just such a grateful to be part of that and offer back.
Yeah, man. No doubt.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that gives me an hour and 17 minutes before my meeting, so I'm definitely gonna go horizontal for a little bit. And, this was amazing. It was really amazing. I don't even want to leave. I mean, like
we'll do it another time when you can stay longer.
Yeah, we should do this again because I had no idea we were going to do this. So, and you know how sometimes you wake up in the morning. I notice it with myself. Like I notice if I warm my throat, like sometimes I wake up and I don't know what it is about your voice, but mine, I can't go in lower into my range. But if I have warm my throat, if somebody gives me some notice, then it's a little bit easier. See, back in the day when I used to drink, just have a couple of whiskeys and honey, and I'm fine. But I don't drink anymore. So, but yeah, this is very cool. And again, it was really an experience for me because I could feel and I'm not even totally sold on chakras in my own personal, realm, but I definitely know that there's parts of the body that are associated with certain things, and I could feel the connection and the correlating chakra areas, and it was quite amazing. Now, I was able to attach 100% up to the throat chakra, and this one I wasn't able to. I mean, I could kind of flash in and out, but I wasn't able to actually. But by then, you went a little fast through
well,
that.
And that's partly coming from me and my comfort in all those chakras too.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bruce says, I think you met your match, Todd. So Thom and I definitely we recognize immediately, like a lot of people at Soulogy Fest, there was a tremendous amount of soul recognition, but Thom and I, we just, I think I just turned around and saw him and went, oh, there you are. but on Earth, who are you?
We fought in a few galactic wars together.
There's no doubt about that. And walking the Earth, there's no doubt about walking the Earth. But yeah, it's big for me is I when I'm alone, especially now since Morgan's been gone, I spend a bit of time. I mean, there's I would say 30 minutes to 60 minutes. During the day, or maybe even a little bit more. Never for more than 3 or 4 minutes, but there's a chanting. There's a more something like this than light language. It's more of I call it sacred song, but it's not. I actually started doing it in my early 30s with no direction. I was doing daily meditations. I was able to manifest some amazing things in 1994, 93. And, but it was vowel sounds only. And it was kind of a Native American, Asian type of tonality. And I don't know where it came from, but I had an amazing year as a result of meditating for 9 months, doing this, but I didn't even know what I was doing. Now you're showing me this. This is amazing. So I think this is part of the quote unquote technology that will be coming out.
So I could compare it to discovering you have an opposing thumb. You imagine having hands that for all your life and then someone you find out you have a thumb. You can use the hand. You can use the hand differently, right? Once you.
Oh, if you had a thumb where your pinky is.
No, if you have hands and you don't realize you have a thumb, and then one day you realize.
I see what you mean. You
have a thumb. So like everybody has a thumb. Everybody has this sonic, this capability, this place, this resonant chamber that's really has its own biodynamic structure. And so a lot of modalities of various religions and do this mantra, do that mantra. And I do believe that the mantra in the native language, like there's the records that store the imprint of what the words mean, even if you don't know what the word means, if you're chanting it together, so there's a lot of teachings around those.
No, I can see it. I can see it. I can feel it. A lot of the memory that's been coming back isn't something that you can attach words to. It's I can't even really say it's a knowing. It's something else, kind of like a memory with minimal imagery, more of a frequency. That would be it. More of a frequency, like a tone or just a sound. It makes more sense.
Like an audible, less visual audible.
Yeah, it's like a sound, Now I have had, and I'm talking about, and I think a lot of people have in the last few weeks, had more code come in different ways. But yeah, it's for me. There's been some galactic stuff. Um, there's been a lot of lucid dream stuff coming in, and it's like if like this. Okay, so like this morning, so like last night, I had about 5 increments. So I slept like 4 hours, 4.5 hours, and I would wake up every hour, 45 minutes, and I'd be, segment one of the dream, and then it would start again, and then, one of those. And it was very interesting. And so when I got up and I was very groggy, I was in the kitchen, drinking some juice and making some tea. And I was started to try to remember the dream. And I knew how it kind of ended. I knew who the players were, but I couldn't, it's always like right there on the tip of the mind's tongue. And so I started to hear tones, right? Like a tone came in. And I just went, okay, I'm just going to align with that tone, because I knew that tone had the information I needed. And I just detached from having to know literally what happened, right? Like I didn't need to know what the dream was act by act or segment by segment, but I knew somehow or another that I had generated this tone, or in collaboration with the universe, that I just aligned with it for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes or whatever it was, and then I was done. So I don't know. This is I think where we're all headed.
Another aspect is like with Vipassana, which observes the breath as the object of the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you go away, you use the breath. You just focus on the breath, and then anyway, it's a technique. So one thing about toning out of breath is it focuses you even more, because now you're on the breath.
Yeah.
And because you're relaxing, when you breathe in, that's when you're putting muscular energy in. Otherwise, you're slowly relaxing back out.
Oh my God!
Then the tone lets it lets you stay with it, kind of. And where you're trying to get, the center of meditation is some place that you allow emptiness from, or you set yourself outside of yourself to observe yourself. Whatever. There's different outcomes of meditation that people reach. And this toning out is a way to help hold that. And that's, I think, why a lot of times people will do the Om together in groups to bring the mind there. So it's pretty simple. It's actually a lot more available than a lot of people realize. But you feel kind of strange sitting around in front of people just making weird sounds.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here laughing because I'm thinking of all the things I've detached from since June the 7th. And how my lifestyle's changed dramatically. And I'm thinking, as you right before you said that, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm going to end up, buck naked, in front of a campfire, with some type of walking stick, dancing and chanting in front of.
They're called staffs.
Staffs, yeah. Staffs and rods, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, man. Here we go. Okay.
All right.
I love you, brother.
You too, Todd.
I love my phone.
Right.
Thank you for your continued love, support, and contributions. And thank everybody for your continued love, support, and contributions. Okay. I really appreciate it, because, I just can't say it enough, because we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Tomorrow's rent day, and I'm happy to pay the bills last night and be able to pay the rent tomorrow. And, it's all good. I love this this whole thing of the energy of not having, what we thought was stability and security and all that stuff. And it actually works. It's called faith. And so I'm just happy to be part of this vortex we call Soulogy. And I appreciate everybody. Thom, and we'll see you. We'll hear from you and Julie, and I'll talk to Morgan and Yvonne and make sure there's no conflict in the schedule. Hey, Mafona, what's happening? What's going on?
That's good. How's this thing?
Did you know we were going to go on and do a live?
No idea. I just went into the bedroom and listened.
Well, I didn't either. I don't think he did either, or he may have known.
Well, actually, hold on, I did, because I was in the middle of writing, and the last thing I just written before you came on, Thom needs to be front stage, and I just thought, whoa. I was just like, okay.
See, that's how it works. They are the
Yeah.
dreamer, and he is the dream maker.
Yeah.
That's how it works. She is the dreamer, and he is the dream maker. I think that's how creation begun. All right. I love you guys.
Bless
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
All right. See y'all later tonight. I'll probably come back on later tonight and do something.